What up, Doe? What up, Doe? We are back again with another episode of 411 Lions. I obviously got a lot of football to talk to y'all about, both from this past week's game, a bunch of games this past week, a lot of interesting stuff going on in the league. We got bye week and all that kind of stuff coming up, so we'll talk about some preparations that the Lions will hopefully be looking at. First, of course, I want to introduce myself. It's King Keith, back again. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at _ Dr. King's Dream. And I'm going to pass it over to my co-host.
What up, world? It's your girl back with another episode. As promised, 411 Lions. You can follow us on TikTok, 411 Lions. You can follow us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can listen to us, 411 Lions. My personal Instagram is CB Love That. Appreciate all the love, appreciate all the clicks, plays, downloads. We definitely appreciate you guys for rocking with us on TikTok and our podcast. Now let's get into it. What
Yes.
happened last night? Detroit
Yeah.
versus Tampa.
Yeah, definitely a game for sure. The Lions, of course, played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Monday Night Football. It's been a matchup that the Lions have played pretty frequently in the past few years now. Feels like they play Tampa Bay once every season and also occasionally in the playoffs. And the Lions did win that matchup last night, 24-9. A very interesting game, a game that I don't think went how most people expected. I think shootout was definitely the word that came up a lot. High scoring, all those different kind of things, and it wasn't that. It definitely was not that. Very interesting performances from offensive, defensive side of the ball for the Lions and for the Buccaneers. The Lions did kind of control this game for pretty much the whole game, even though the score was a little tight, or a little tighter than it should have been. But the Lions had a pretty strong control of this game. They outgained the Buccaneers by I don't know, 150 yards, I want to say, in the first half. At the point of the game, Jahmyr Gibbs had more total yards than the Buccaneers had as a whole team. But they also weren't running away with the game. There were a couple of fourth down conversions that didn't go the Lions' way. One of those, which could have been a defensive pass interference, but you know how that goes. We're not even about to talk about the rest very much today. Um, yeah, definitely a game that felt a lot further away than the score would indicate. And there are definitely some people that stood out during the game. But CB, what were you seeing last night?
Oh man, I am seeing Kelvin Shepard's defensive schemes, his plans, his play calling, and his execution come alive. I mean, he was hyped. He had me hyped, man. I was at the bar watching the game. Shout out to my best friend. He had me hyped. Defensively, I can't even point out one person. We had who do we have? Eric Hallett. We had Arthur Mallet, Rocky Sin with some bat downs. We had Aline McNeil's return, some big time bat downs with the shorter Baker Mayfield with that shorter quarterback, Nick Whiteside. I mean, the defense was just for our starters to be out because, as you guys know, we had Brian Branch suspension, Terrion Arnold out, DJ Reed, Kirby Joseph. For those guys to come in, it was kind of like instead of Legion of Boom, it was kind of like the Legion of like we had Amik Robinson. Did he have a forced fumble or was that an interception?
Punch
I know
out.
he had the punch out.
Mm-hmm.
And who was fighting over the ball and then he
Millette.
got
Arthur Millette.
Arthur Millette. Man, so he got that interception. Shout out to Arthur Millette. Cause isn't he like 32 or something like that?
I'm not
Not
even
a younger guy.
sure.
Yeah, he's been around a minute. But yeah, I mean defensively, obviously offensively, we got one name, Jahmyr Gibbs, which we'll talk about that. But yeah, what did you see?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the defensive performance was kind of startling. I'm not going to lie, like in a good way. For the whole secondary to be out. I mean, all 40 guys that you mentioned. Also, Avonte Maddox, who's kind of a break glass in case of emergency kind of guy, where he can play safety, he can play corner. He's a veteran guy. He also was out. So you literally only have Amik Robertson as a guy that plays regular reps out there, and for them to hold the Buccaneers to 9 points and to really just make Baker Mayfield's life hard was amazing. But that's a testament to those guys. So shout out to all those guys, the guys you mentioned, Arthur Millette, Eric Hallett, Nick Whiteside, Thomas Harper. I mean, so many of those guys just were people that nobody really knew about, and including Lions fans. Like some of the guys, I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't have a large background description of who this person is.
Right. I wasn't expecting that. That's why I'm like, what?
Yeah, but part of it is culture. And I think the Lions cultivate this stuff in training camp because a lot of the beat writers are saying that like Nick Whiteside was a guy who played really well, and they were honestly surprised the Lions did end up trying to squeeze onto the practice squad or whatever. So the fact that those guys who played well in camp can come up in a pinch and give you some reps, like it speaks to, I guess, the depth, but also the coaching. The fact that the Lions were able to come up with a scheme that works for these guys. There were some things in particular that the Lions were doing on the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the secondary, that really stood out to me. Some plays that the Lions would just they would get beat on a lot in the past. And I'm specifically talking about like the crossing routes, the short
Mhm.
drag routes. I feel like in man coverage, those are just really hard routes to cover. Like it's never really the corner's fault. But the Lions had adjustments for those kind of plays. I've been seeing it this season in general where they'll play this aggressive man coverage and they'll, make sure that they're playing the scheme that they want to play, but at the same time, they have somebody to help. So I believe it was a play where I think Millette or one of the guys with Whiteside on the outside, there's a crossing route coming across the field, short route. It's a third down play too, so a big play. And he kind of gets beat because it's just a really hard route to cover. And then the safety comes down and covers that route. And that right there, I'm like, this is a play that I've seen the Lions get beat so many times on because they're so like stuck in the idea of we're gonna go all out, we're gonna play man to man, we're gonna trust our guys to hold up. You can trust your guys to hold up while also allowing a little bit of support there. In these past two games, I've been seeing that kind of play. The Lions have had covered. Another play against Jamar Chase against the Bengals, a similar thing happened where he breaks open against Terry Arnold on a crossing route. The safety comes down and helps him. Next thing you know, it's covered. And that happened against Baker Mayfield multiple times. One of those times forced him to actually take a sack because the safety came down so quick that it's like, I don't have anywhere to throw the ball. That's my only guy to hit. So I was extremely impressed with not just the defensive performance by the players, but also the coaching putting those guys in a really good spot to be able to succeed. Like they seem to know what these guys' strengths and weaknesses were and they held up. And I know the Buccaneers are missing some guys. Obviously, Mike Evans went out with a pretty scary looking injury in
Yes.
the second quarter, so hopefully Mike Evans will be fine. But Chris Godwin also wasn't playing, but Ibuka was out there, and Ibuka has been one of the best receivers in the league. And the Lions did a good job of containing him. They did a good job of managing Mike Evans during the time he was on the field. And you still got Baker Mayfield out there, and he's a fighter. It really doesn't matter what receivers you give him. He can make plays. He struggled to make plays tonight. The Lions they made everything hard. They really made everything difficult. And then you talk about the defensive line, like Lee McNeil, first play, pass rushing. He's pushing the guard right back into Baker Mayfield's lap. And he did that a lot tonight, just pushing guys back, getting his hands up. Aiden Hutchinson had 11 pressures last night. Mind you, they're double teaming him, triple teaming him, pretty
Yep.
much every play before the fourth quarter. He had a tight end, a running back, or both helping out along with the offensive tackle blocking him. They devoted so much attention to Aiden Hutchinson, and he still generated pressure after pressure after pressure. Muhammad generated pressure on the other side. The linebackers tackled well tonight. They looked like they wanted to really win this game. They wanted to go into the bye 5-2, and start getting some of their guys back. And we'll talk about that in a second. But it looks like they might be able to.
Yeah, and shout out, like you said, a name. Shout out to Hutch. He may not have shown up really on the stat sheet, but let me tell you, he made Baker Mayfield's life hell last night. I mean, he hurried him. I mean, like you said, he was double teamed. A lot of times when they showed replays, he was double teamed. He was still kind of getting through. Oh man, Hutch made it hard.
Yeah,
Baker
relentless.
Mayfield, and we got home what 4 times? We got 4 sacks. We did allow 4 sacks too, but we
Uh-huh.
got 4 sacks.
Yeah, but even like there was a play where he batted the ball down, or like Mayfield was throwing it, but he hit it as it was coming out of his hand. I mean, yeah, just making it hard on him, just relentless pressure, which you're gonna always get from Aiden Hutchinson, and it makes me feel really good about this Lions defense. And we'll see because now the bye week is here, and there's a lot of time to now get these guys back. Like you got Kirby Joseph that's probably going to be back. Brian Branch obviously will be back. Turning out Arnold potentially looks like he might be back as well, which is a miracle, but he'll probably be back. Avante Maddox, another depth guy that's going to be back. And DJ Reed, hopefully within the coming weeks, will be back as well. But They're talking about getting all these guys back, getting Taylor Decker some rest. Like Malcolm Rodriguez will probably be back pretty soon. Like this
I
is
mean,
this is a,
McNeil is still coming back, and obviously he made his stamp.
yeah. Like it looks like this team could be rounded into some kind of form. I don't want to call it, but I do think a bit of a streak is coming for this team if the offense can correct their minor issues.
Speaking of the offense, which I was just about to get into, what did you see from Detroit Lions offense? They put up 24 points. Now, credit to them, they did score every quarter. Now, I believe the fourth quarter they only had a field goal, but they did score. They scored every quarter, but they did punt 6 times. Tampa Bay punted 6 times also.
Yeah, I think there was some underwhelmingness from the pass game in particular. Um and I mean some of that I think was just like the execution wasn't fully there. Like the fourth down play, for example, I mean, I think Tesla ran a pretty good route, and I think he got grabbed at the top of the route. But also, Golf can make a better throw there, and I also think that that's a low percentage decision to go for that particular route. I'm here for going for it, absolutely. I'm always 100% here for going for it, especially in that situation. I just prefer they would have thrown a route that would have been a little more sure, maybe an out route to St. Brown, maybe a short crosser to JMO, maybe a hook to Laporta or something to Gibbs, but I thought that a fade route to the end zone was a bit of a low percentage call there. It happens. It's whatever. Tesla have been reliable in those kind of situations. They also missed a field goal, which I think Jake Bates would love to have back. I think that that's something that's the field goal that he can make. He knows that he can make. It was still like a 54-yarder, but he had plenty of leg on it. So there was some points that were definitely left out on the field. There was a time when they were driving down the field and Jared Goff, of course, was hit and fumbled. So I like the fact that the offense is still moving the ball in spite of the fact that they may not be scoring as many points as they need to score. But obviously, they got to figure out the deep ball because St. Brown, the connection is still there. Laporta, the connection is still there. Last night, the connection with Gibbs, who was obviously fantastic player of the game on offense for the Lions, was still there. But I think you got to find a way to get JMO going. I think we got to find a way to get Tesla going as well if that's who you want to utilize on a deep ball. Golf has got to work on the chemistry there, offensive coordinator, all that kind of stuff. But they got the bye week. They got a couple weeks to figure it out. I still feel good about the offense, but I want to feel great about the offense. The offensive line is rounding into shape, which is nice. They're really creating some holes. But you can't give Jameer Gibbs any holes because you see he can go for 230 total yards. Um, a lot of good, just some things to still correct, which I think they'll get figured out.
Now, there were some, we don't really get into gossip, y'all, but there were some interesting things that Detroit Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams posted on his Instagram story, and people are kind of dissecting that. Did you see that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, he posted a Michael Jordan cry meme with a football, Cam Newton's face, I believe, on it. And he had kind of like a guy just doing this.
Mm.
Very interesting. I don't know if he maybe upset about not getting the ball, or I don't know. It's people kind of starting to talk about that. Offensively, yeah. Tampa Bay did get home a couple times. I would say like Jared Goff's rhythm wasn't 100%. I know he was what 20 or 29,
Mhm.
241 interception, one touchdown. So I think he could have got a little more genuated. But obviously, player of the game offensively, Jameer Gibbs. Jameer Gibbs had, let's see, 218 total scrimmage yards, the most since Calvin Johnson's 329, 2013. Oh man, that is a special young man right there. Let's talk about her.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much more to say about Gibbs besides that he is special, and I mean, you could see it early on in his first season, but like for it to be fully manifesting into the player that he is, yeah, there really just isn't much to say. He's fantastic. Like the speed, the vision, the physicality, like everything about him is just is blossoming. He's truly a weapon. And this is what the Lions should have been doing with him, and this is what the Lions are now doing with him. And it's really impressive to see. especially coming from where he's the 12th overall pick, and a lot of people are like, y'all picking a running back, and also like a running back that a lot of us don't know, like what's going on here. And he's just been great every step of the way. And I'm glad that the Lions still give David Montgomery his fair share of carries. One, because Montgomery deserves that, but two, to keep Jameer Gibbs fresh. And that was good to see last night, is that there still was a balance even with him dominating. So I just want to see the Lions keep him fresh, keep him rolling down the stretch of this season. But I think you have declarations to make about him, which I 100% am behind.
Here, people, make no mistake. We have done a thing. I think Jameer Gibbs, when he came out last night, I think he put the league on notice, baby. He is ready to be crowned the best running back in the league. I'm ready to crown him as the best running back in the league. I know we got McCaffrey. McCaffrey, he had a special performance last week. But
Mhm.
I think Jameer Gibbs, we are ready to crown him as our number one best offensive weapon, baby. I mean, 218 yards from scrimmage, the most from a Lions player since Calvin Johnson. I mean, that's a special stat within itself. I mean, he's fast. We saw that 4.3 speed. What was he clocked at? 2 miles, 21 and a half miles. I mean, that burst, that vision. He may not be the biggest running back, may not be big as Josh Jacobs, or he may not be a Derrick Henry, but he is scrappy. He will run you over. I mean, he's a track down running back, baby. You look back, he gone, baby. I mean, that run he had the touchdown, what was it, 70 something yards? Oh man. And then when he had his second touchdown where he did that spin, I thought he was tackled. I thought he was out. I thought he was tackled, but I'm ready to crown him as NFL's top running back.
Yeah, he's so impressive. I think the between the tackles is really what's so impressive, because everybody expected him to be this gadget guy who lines up almost as much as a receiver as a running back, and it's like, no, this is a running back, like that can do all the running back things that other running backs do. He just also is so good at the other stuff as well. So just insanely impressive, truly impressive. Definitely the best running back the Lions have had since Barry Sanders. I don't think that that's like any shock or anything to mention. And I think he is the best running back in the league right now. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, like, got to give him his respect, give him a chance to kind of bounce back. I know he hasn't started the best, but he's
Nice.
obviously a really special back. And Christian McCaffrey is still playing really well. And
Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson is playing really well, and Jonathan Taylor is also playing out of his mind in India. And then he's another guy whose name has to come up in those conversations, but I think Gibbs is the most effective. I think he does the most with what he has. I think those guys are a little more relied upon their teams and still aren't as productive as he is. So yeah, I think Gibbs is the best running back in the league currently. But Jonathan Taylor, I can see the argument for Saquon. Still got to get a respect. Bijan is really good, but I think we got the best guy. And I think we got the third best receiver too. So just throwing
St.
that out
Brown.
there.
He had a touchdown too. Let's not forget. 86 yards TD.
Yeah, and I feel like St. Brown could have had a bigger night, but I know Golf was trying to get everybody else going. But I think if he wanted to target St. Brown on every play, pretty much he could have. So St. Brown special. There's a lot to say about this offense where it's like it should be the best in the league or one of the best in the league. They didn't look like it last night, but also Tampa Bay does typically play the Lions really well. Todd Bowles is a very smart defensive mind, and he knows how to kind of get in the Lions' head a little bit. I think with the blitzes and having Vita Vea in the middle to kind of muck up the run a little bit. They typically do play the Lions really well. I guess I'm not surprised the Lions didn't put a 30 piece up on the board, because they kind of don't do that against Tampa Bay. Coming out of the bye against Minnesota, Minnesota isn't playing the best.
Let's talk about it.
I don't think it's a good matchup for Minnesota. I don't. I don't think Minnesota matches up well against the Lions, and they haven't the past few years now.
Yeah, I mean, that Justin Jefferson, don't get me wrong, is something special. A lot of the times he usually gets his, but lately, past couple of years, we've been coming out on top, baby. We've been coming out on top. But we do have the bye. We play the Tampa Bay, I mean, not Tampa Bay, but Minnesota Vikings November 2nd, 1 p.m. I'm expecting to win. I'm not expecting anything else. Based on what I've seen from the Vikings so far, 3-3, a little shaky.
Yeah. I think Jettas and obviously Addison are threats for sure. Obviously, like really, really high level wide receiver room there. I think the Vikings have an issue at quarterback though. Carson Wentz is not as good as Sam Darnold was playing last year, first and foremost. Second of all, Carson Wentz is just not he's fine. He can play. Like I think he's good, but um he's not a high level quarterback. And so Jefferson getting open and making these plays, blah, 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 that does hinge upon the quarterback getting him the ball. And I don't think Carson Wentz is super effective at doing that. And I think that the Lions have coverages and schemes that you can run to kind of mitigate some of the damage that he can create out there. Not to mention them getting their DBs back for that game more than likely. Yeah, I don't think it's a good matchup for Minnesota. I think they have to be able to run the ball, which is just extremely difficult against the Lions already. I don't think their defense is a good matchup for the Lions. It hasn't been for the past few years. Brian Flores is an outstanding defensive coordinator. They got some guys on that side of the ball that are really effective, but I don't think their secondary can keep up much with the Lions. I don't think that their pass rush is like that deadly to where the Lions won't be able to maintain. Flores is obviously going to bring pressure and he's going to give this guys looks and do all that kind of stuff. I just think that Jared Goff is a quarterback that's not going to struggle with that. Like you might get the younger rookie quarterbacks, you might get a Justin Fields to struggle with that kind of stuff. Jared Goff is going to pick that apart, and he has in the past. So Jared Goff has outstanding numbers against the blitz this year. Had outstanding numbers against the blitz last year. I don't think it's a good matchup for Minnesota. That's not me saying the Lions are just going to blow them out of the water, but Minnesota is going to have to find a way to like balance out their offense against this Lions defense. I guess it depends on who's playing quarterback. If it's McCarthy, as much as I love JJ, I don't think that goes well for him. But who knows?
You said it. Who knows?
Any given Sunday for sure. And again, the Vikings have some of the best coaching in the NFL as far as head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, whatever. They have a really capable group to scheme something together, but like I just don't think their players on the field match up very well against the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs has had really big games against Minnesota. St. Brown has had really big games against Minnesota. Jared Goff, again, really good against the blitz and those disguised pressures and stuff like that. It takes him a couple drives to figure it out, but once he figures it out, they're like rolling down the field. So good luck to Minnesota is all I'll say, but I don't think it's a good matchup for them. I don't.
Yeah, that was messy. Good luck to Minnesota. Uh, yeah, I'm a agree. I think we'll come out with that win. Like you said, we don't have to reiterate their defense, their offense. I think with our offensive weapons, even our defense, I think we usually keep up with them. So I definitely feel if we're
It's a
doing
home
a
game too.
score, we're still home. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
home game too. Bless
Ooh, sneeze. Thank you. But prediction wise, score wise, I'ma say I think we can do 31.
That's a good call. I think I'll hold off on giving a score call because it's 2 weeks away still. But I see somewhere similar to that, like a 35 kind of score.
Well,
Yeah.
there's your score.
Yeah. We'll see.
Chicken.
We'll see. I mean, stuff happens during the next week. I don't think Minnesota has a bye either, so I think they'll be playing. So you never know. Injuries, all that kind of stuff could come up. Minnesota could look really good next week. I have no idea who they're playing, but yeah, anything could come up. But I just, again, I feel good about that matchup for the Lions. I think they match up well against most teams in the division, to be honest. But Minnesota in particular, I think they match up well against. And they got some tough games coming up, so they got to make sure they stay focused because Washington is after that. Then Philly is after that. So, like, this gauntlet ain't over. It is not over.
Yeah, because Washington got some injuries too.
They do, including Jada Daniels, who looks like he'll be fine, but don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Washington.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Lions will be looking to exact some revenge against them. So that'll definitely be a really interesting game. But I guess that's looking ahead. That's looking ahead. I think the Lions are prepared to kind of go on a bit of a streak here, and I'm hoping that the offense fully jails because this defense looks like they are ready to go.
Yeah, defense ready to take off. So I'm here for it. Another win. We are 5-2 in the division. We are still behind Green Bay because Green Bay beat us, and then they had the tie with Dallas. So it's all right, Green Bay. We catching up. Do we know who Green Bay plays?
No, don't know who Green Bay is.
Not that we really care, but
Yeah, I think they already had their bye week, so they playing somebody. I'm not exactly sure who it is, but yeah, definitely will be interesting to see. I mean, the Lions will get their shot against Green Bay regardless on Thanksgiving, so you gotta go out and win that game. You can't lose to them twice in the same season, but it'll be interesting to watch. One of these teams is going, I think, kind of elevate themselves, and the Bears are 4-2, so there's that too.
Which I wasn't expecting the Bears to be 4-2. So okay, Chicago. Let me find out.
Fine, I just don't think they're like ready, but I think they're fine. I do.
Yeah, I think they'll finish decent. I had them at maybe what beginning of the season prediction wise, like 7 wins, 7, 8. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, they could sneak into a wild card spot for sure. I mean, the NFC doesn't look overwhelming right now. There are some teams that are kind of bunched up when I think of the East and the South, but um, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the Lions just they got to stay focused. They got to stay locked in and win the games because nothing is coming easy this season.
Any given Sunday, baby. Well, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps us up. Another Detroit win. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for rocking with us. We will be back. Well, it depends on if there's any news, or we may be back with a little fun little video for you. Nothing too serious in between that bye week. So, yeah, you want to take us away?
All right, y'all. CB, let y'all know where to follow us at. Please do keep up with us. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, listen, whatever it takes to get us into your ears, essentially. Pause. So please continue to do that. But we'll be back, like you said, potentially next week. Maybe we'll do a breakdown. Maybe we'll have something fun for y'all. But until then, peace.
Peace, Detroit.